Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. I am so excited to be before you today because we are filming from our same studio, but we moved a few things around. So bear with us while we get it together, okay? When I woke up this morning, I saw how everything was like in disarray, and I'm like, I want to show this for Behind the Business. So we are back here again for another week with Behind the Business. I'm your host, Tiffany Hope, and every Tuesday now, we're going to be right here talking about the business, the beauty, but most importantly, the balance. We're going to go beyond all the luxury highlights, social media feeds, and luxury branding to talk about exactly what happens when building a brand. Make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on your post notifications so that you never miss an episode, which comes out every Tuesday on YouTube. Now, let's get to the episode. Hey y'all, we are back again with Behind the Business. It's your girl, you know how we pulling up, okay? We did get additional feedback, and let me tell y'all what it was. My dad called me, ring ring. He said, you need to stop popping your neck and saying girl. I'm never going to stop doing that. I'm just telling you right now. That's never about to happen, okay? So popping the neck, snapping the fingers, girl, welcome back to another episode, okay? On today's episode, we are talking about something that transcends multiple organizations and industries. It's all about the hustle and how you cannot cheat it. Firstly, nobody likes a cheater anyway. Cheating gets you maybe a result, but after a while, you're going to realize that it's not necessarily sustainable. So I put together a few bullet points for us to just go over as business owners, as entrepreneurs, to make sure that we're aligned and on track with what it means to actually put in the work and get the desired results. So that way we can feel sufficient, we can feel proud, and we can really soak up our identity in the work that it took to get to where we are. Firstly, we live in a world where it's so many shortcuts. We used to be called the microwave generation, where we wanted things to happen right away. Now, this generation is like the teleportation generation. Everything is happening, everything is going viral. A lot of tasks and everything is automated. People are doing things like simultaneously, multiple things at once. And really, that cuts down on the focus that it takes to complete one task. So many of us in the younger generations, we're like, hey, I want this to happen right now. How do I get this done? AKA looking for a shortcut. When you run a business, and whether you're an entrepreneur or business owner, you are going to have a feeling of being overwhelmed with so many things going on. You have to wear multiple hats, and that's just in business. That's not your personal life or your spiritual life or your physical life of working out and staying in shape. That's one aspect. When you have so many things going on, that little urge is going to creep up. How can I cut a corner here? How can I take a shortcut there? How can I make this easier? The bottom line is that no matter how many times we try to cut different things down, we cannot cheat the hustle. Everybody's hustle is going to look different depending on what industry you're in or whatever you have going on business-wise or school-wise. You can't not study for a test and expect to pass. That's just how it is. So today we're getting into ways that we can combat against trying to cheat the hustle. Point one, success has a tuition bill. Every person who's successful will tell you they paid for that success with one thing or the other. Some people pay with their time. Some people pay with their money. Other people pay with their emotions. Either way, it's going to cost you something. Going into any industry that you're going into with your business, you may think, well, I know these parts and I come here, with some things to the table, which is okay. But there are going to be other learning curves that you're going to have to find resources. You can have all the money in the world. And there have been businesses who've had money, who've dumped money, and who've still lost the business because they weren't readily available to pay emotionally. They weren't ready for the late nights and the sacrifices. And then vice versa, you have some people who might be looking for funding, who don't have that financial aspect together, but who are emotionally available, who's willing to put in the work, but still they need to find a way to pay. And then you have people who pay with their time. That means the people who are missing out on family events. That's people who aren't as present in life as maybe they would like to be, because essentially you're working now to reap something in the future. But here's the thing. It's all going to cost you. You can change the route a million times. You can take a different route to the destination, but you will never be able to change the amount of time that it takes to get you there. A little bit later, I'm going to be talking about how I spent 10 hours a day working to build Studio 92 hair. And this was before AI. I know, right? Showing the age here. It's called Studio 92 hair for a reason. I was born in 92. Hello. Before AI came out, there for sure was not a such thing as shortcuts. You had no choice but to sit down and to do the work. As much as AI has helped change my life and my perspective, I'm really thankful that it came out at a time where my brain was developing as a business owner. I'm just now getting into probably the second part or the summer series of my executive MBA. And with me just now starting the courses, I came into it already owning a multi-million-dollar business, already being the CEO of my company, and still looking to learn more. Essentially, I don't know what I don't know, right? And if I trick myself into thinking I know all the things and I have all this information and I really don't have to go through the hustle and bustle, I would be not only cheating myself, but I would be cheating my team and the world of all the things that I've learned that I can pass on, all the things that I can extrapolate and implement from my executive MBA and putting it towards the business. I would be cheating myself out of all of that. So learning early on and just accepting that you can't cheat the hustle, that's your first step in just understanding there are going to be motions, there's going to be things that you're going to go through. Okay, second point. You can delay the work, but you can't avoid it. And when I thought about this earlier, about how you can procrastinate, all of us can. All of us have the ability to say, I'm going to do this tomorrow, I'm going to do this later. Once you allow your brain to even accept that as an option, your brain is going to do it. The brain is like any other muscle. And if you don't work it out, it's going to become stagnant and it's going to become out of shape. When you train your brain to know, I have to put in the work to get this done, I have to be able to do a certain set of criteria in order to reach this goal, when your brain thinks like that, it already is set up to know that it cannot cheat. Cheating means you're going to cut down a few of the tasks. You're going to break things down and say, I'll do half of this here. I'll split the difference. I don't really need to put my effort towards that. That's a lot of the ways that we can think as entrepreneurs and business owners. But today, I encourage you to take a step back and to understand that no matter how you flip it, twist it, or turn it, you still cannot cheat the hustle. There's always going to be something that you have to pay for. Again, with any given resource, that's just how it's going to be in all industries. Ask anybody, think about your mentor, right? Think about somebody who is 10x, doing 10 times more than what you're doing in your business, and ask them, what's the cost of success? They will tell you right away, this is what I paid for this. People like to ask, how did you get here? What did you do? Really, what they're asking for is a shortcut. Imagine going up to somebody who has spent 10 or 20 years investing in their craft, and you ask such a trivial question like, how did you get here? People ask that all the time in interviews, and there is no direct answer to that. There's not a silver bullet one-liner that's like, you just do this one thing and that's it. I am the queen of reading self-help books. We just talked about Atomic Habits, and that's one of my favorite books that really broke down my habits over the course of a year in order to help me to break things down into bite-sized pieces so I can really digest them. We also talked about our goals not being so big that they scare us. Now that we have that perspective, we can add on the layer of not cheating the hustle, and that really is your recipe for success. However, that recipe still is going to look different for everybody. You can't compare yourself to the person next to you. You can only compare yourself to yourself. Whatever your hustle might look like, that's something that you want to write down. Hustle for me, I know I only have a certain amount of hustle in me for a certain amount of days out of the week. Today being one of those days, right? I know podcast day, I need to hustle. And I show up every time, not just for myself, not just for my team, but for you all who's watching. If I tried to cheat the system, if I tried to show up without going over a topic for today or without deciding what to talk about, I would get here and I wouldn't know what to do. I might say some random things or, just come up with something off the top of my head, but the quality wouldn't be there. The forethought wouldn't be there. The care about my delivery wouldn't be there. All those things are cheating. And when you identify it, you put in the work to know, I want to be successful. These are the ways that I want to be successful. Write those things down. And then from there, you can work backwards to say, what does success look like? Every time we have a podcast episode or a hair campaign for Studio 92 Hair that comes out, we spend weeks on end planning, doing projections, organizing, getting the team together, ordering products, putting a product shoot together. We spend so much time that by the time the photo shoot comes, that's all that's left to do is get the content, because we've put our effort into knowing what's going to happen. I can tell you from personal experience, I have shown up to shoots that were so unorganized, and knowing that somebody spent all of their time and resources, but they didn't spend their emotions. They didn't put their emotional investment, the very thing that it will cost them to produce something great. They didn't have that. And what happened? They weren't even able to use any of the footage. That has happened to me. That has happened to people that I know, because there takes a trifecta, if you will, of that time, money, and emotional investment for you to be able to get to where you want to be. And those are just simple facts that you can't cheat. The next point, and one of my favorite points, is the market doesn't care about potential. If you think about a relationship that you're in, and imagine your spouse, the person that you're interested in, says, hey, I really want to be a good person for you. I really, one day, I can see myself being a great person for you. I can definitely see it. Will you really believe that? Will you stand by and wait and hope that this person will become that person? No, because we don't fall for potential around here. Now, when you're younger, of course, some people might say, this person has a lot of potential. But again, if you don't do your execution, that potential can very easily slip into cheating. It can very easily look like you showing up to places that you pretty much did not prepare for, that you didn't do the work for. And I'm going to just tell you right now, a successful person can spot a fake from a mile away. We can spot it. No matter what your industry is, if somebody came up to you and said, hey, I do the same thing you do, ask a handful of questions. Ask them to see their balance sheet. Ask them for their P&L. Ask them for their cash flow income. Ask them about their SKU numbers. If people can't answer those simple questions, do you really run a business, right? Is that something you really do? Or, like we mentioned in episode 1, are you self-employed? Nothing is wrong with that. Again, you still can't cheat that hustle. But it's very different when you're talking to people who know, the people who've been through it. I want us all here to think about not just our mentors, not just the people doing 10X, but some of the top 1% people in business in the world. Think about your Amazons and your Walmarts and your Hilton hotels. Those have become huge companies because somebody respected the hustle. You have to respect it to get to where you're going. Just like any other relationship, if you try to cheat in your relationship, who wants that? Who wants to get cheated on? Nobody. When I go and I become successful, I want to be able to speak to my success. I want to be able to say my success met me where I am, not because it fell for potential of what I could have been or who I could have become, but because I executed, and because I followed through each day, and because I stayed consistent, and because I didn't try to cheat the hustle. Now I'm going to talk about a question that I get asked pretty often, which is, how did you do this? How did you do this? How did you do that? How did you become this person? How did you become this woman? That is pretty loaded, and I want to be clear about the woman that I am today, because there was not necessarily one thing that made me who I am. And there's never going to be, like I said, one sentence or one phrase that says, this is who I am, this is what happened. But I will say, the small pieces add up every day. It's not about what woman I am or what woman I want to be. It's about the type of person I want to be. I'm going to be faced with all the same challenges. We all are. Everybody's going to be faced with the same challenges when running a business. It's about the type of person that you want to be. So what I do when I get into a tough spot, I ask myself, what type of woman do I want to be in this situation? Do I want to be the kind of business owner who is upset that we missed the deadline? Or do I want to be the kind of business owner who, okay, we missed that deadline, let's tighten up, let's get it together? I have choices each time. And that doesn't stop the deadlines from being missed. That doesn't stop the team from having a misstep or somebody from making a mistake. but it's about who you want to be. When you learn who you are, who you want to be, and where you want to go, you inevitably will hustle and you will get there. But just remember, you can't cheat it. There's no way around it. And I want people to try to do it. Drop a comment if you've tried to cheat the hustle in ways that you have. And then also put the ways that you failed at it. Because I promise you, not one person is going to come in these comments and say, I cheated the hustle and now I'm a millionaire. I skipped right to the front and now this is awesome. Everybody has different resources. Some people are born with the money. Some people are born with the support. Some people are born with the time. All of us are born with our different cards that are dealt. But at the end of the day, you need to play them well and to remember you cannot cheat the game and you cannot cheat the hustle. I hope that you took something special from this episode because, as I always say, I'm super passionate about this topic. I'm excited to get into the story time because I really want to share with you all some intimate details about times that I've tried to cut a little corner, okay? And it got down to a certain level where I'm here today to help the audience understand and to help my past self understand the mistakes that I've made and how to learn from them. Again, thank you all so much for tuning into another episode of Behind the Business, and I'll see you soon for story time. As promised, the story time, my favorite time of the podcast where we get to just chill, kick back, and talk about those real life experiences that brought me to where I am today. With our theme of not cheating the hustle, there definitely have been times that I don't consider it cheating the hustle, but looking back, I'm like, girl, you definitely try to, cut some corners. One of the most major ways I tried to cut corners was with our products. So we sell over 600,000 SKUs, even though we only have about 10 major products. So we have clip-ins, tape-ins, fusions, wigs, bundles, that type of thing. And then for every product, there's going to be a variation of the texture, the color, and the length, which equals about 600,000 SKUs. Now, before AI, when I started Studio 92 Hair, I was the one that was writing down these SKUs line by line by line in an Excel sheet. And I remember I wanted to copy and paste a few of them and just change either the length on the end of it or just change the texture. So for example, one of our SKUs would be S92H 1B BW 14. Studio 92 Hair 1B Indian Body Wave Bundle Deals 14-inch, right? I would try to take that specific SKU, copy it, paste it 10 times, and then just go back and take off the length and go back 14, 16, 18, 20, 22 and do it that way. I was successful at that for a little bit until I went and hired some people for operations. And I realized the one letter on every single SKU number was off. And because that one letter was off, that means I had to go through every single SKU. Backspace, put the letter in. Backspace, put the letter in. 600,000 times, okay? That taught me to never cut a corner again, because had I just measured twice and cut once, I wouldn't have made that mistake. But you couldn't tell me anything. I was overwhelmed. I had a lot going on. I used to spend 10 hours a day at Panera, and I used to get in there early in the morning, first one. And I used to bring my Starbucks in there, because who would tell me I can't, okay? I would not drink coffee from Panera. I'm sorry. The food is great. The coffee seems like it wanted to be coffee, but it just missed the assembly line. So I went in there with my own Starbucks, and I would set up and, I would open my laptop and I'd be like, all right, we're just going to do Indian Body Wave today. Knock that out. We're just going to do Cambodian. Knock that out. When I realized that one decision of cutting a corner not just cost me the money to hire somebody to go in and fix it, but the amount of time that I spent. If I would have just put that effort into just doing it right the first time, I would have been much better off. So now we've gotten all of our SKUs. We're still in the process, actually. Gotten all of our SKUs set up that are on point, and they front to back do exactly what I need them to do. But the point is, when I went in thinking that this was going to work, I was so ignorant and oblivious to what it really took. And I remember thinking to myself, there's no way that these large companies are doing this by hand. It's no way that the owner of Home Depot is sitting down and writing down SKU numbers by hand and then having customers place orders. So when I started to think bigger scale, I realized I didn't even have to cut corners. I learned something very important, is that an artist is only as good as their tools. I can only get the specific information out of this document or whatever I wanted. I can only get it if I had the proper resources and the proper tools to do so. Then AI came out. When AI hit the scene, oh my goodness, that was like one of the best things since a bundle of hair, girl, okay? I was so excited to be able to put these SKU numbers into AI and say, hey, give me this exact SKU number, but go ahead and change this from 14 inch to 30 inch. And it would do it. And then I was able to just copy and paste, hence how we are where we are today with our SKUs. However, before that, like I said, I tried to cut those corners and it just didn't work out. From that experience, I put my heart and soul into everything that I do, not just my business. And that really caused for me a sense of respect for the game and for the hustle and for the grit of what it takes to be successful. So that by the time I get to where I'm going as a successful woman, this isn't going to be about a SKU number. This isn't going to be about sitting in Panera. It's going to be about the character development. It's going to be about the things that I learned along the way that you cannot teach. Those are things that you have to really experience. So that brings me to my team now. We have an operations team who is spearheaded by our chief of operations. And now their job is to take all of our products and put them on our website so that you lovely people get to go on studio92hair.com and shop and purchase hair. From the customer's perspective, they're just going on a website, clicking what they want, something magical happens, it ends up in the cart, you input your information, boom, you have this product at your front door. But really what happens behind the business is every single product is combed through, no pun intended, but it's combed through for us to know exactly the part of the product and the identifier of what you're going to get when you press these buttons. Imagine going on a website and you're like, I really want a size small t-shirt. You click it, you put the small in your cart, you check out, you pay, and then they send you a large. You would think like, why I didn't order this? In our brains, we're processing products that end up on our doorstep as one thing. We're processing it as all the same when we're not realizing somebody had to sit down and do multiple parts of it. So what happens with Studio 92 Hair is somebody goes on our website, places an order. I do a little happy dance, like, girl, okay, got a new hair order. It doesn't matter. Thousands of orders. I am appreciative of every single one that we get. I have the app on my phone. Even though I'm not the one fulfilling the order and doing the operations, I love to see it. I love to see people go in and purchase something that we built from the ground up. So an order will come through. Immediately, my team starts to work on it. They double check to make sure that the payment is okay. There's this thing in the back end of the website that hopefully you have too if you have an e-commerce store that will tell you if the fraud alert is high or low. That allows you to go in and process the payment. When I first started, we were collecting payments automatically. Girls were just buying hair, money was just dropping in the account. I was living my life until somebody tried to scam. And when that happened, I realized we needed to put the process in place for somebody to go in and actually go through every single order to make sure it's a real girl on the other side. Now, this girl was a real girl. She was a real girl, and she ordered, I will never forget this order. She ordered 3 613 bodyweight bundles. She ordered 3 1B bodyweight bundles. Then she ordered again 3 613 bodyweight bundles. Then again 3 1B bodyweight bundles. And she did that 6 times. So 6 different orders. Her total for each of these orders was $1,003. And when the first one came through, I did my little happy dance. I was excited. And then a duplicate order came through. And then a third one and then a fourth one. And I'm like, oh, she doesn't realize because this is not her card. It's just charging and she's not realizing that the charges are going through from this person's card. Lo and behold, I just called the girl. I was like, girl, what's up? Let me holler at you real quick. I see you in here trying to, finesse and do your thing. We were a smaller company then than what we are now. And I'm like, please go finesse somebody else. You still have to give me your first and last name. You still have to, let's say you finesse that. You still got to give me your address. Let's say you finesse that. Girl, it's around the corner. Okay, I could just pull up on you and be like, hey, what's up? I could just do that. So that taught me, even this girl was trying to cheat. Even this girl was like, I'm gonna just get somebody else's card. I'm gonna get me some hair, child. And the back end of our website ended up flagging that, and we lost our merchant account because of it. And they were like, I don't care what you have going on. I'm looking at these multiple orders coming in, automatically took it away from us. When that happened, I realized that we needed to be more thorough because people were trying to cut corners. And now, when somebody goes on our website to purchase, it doesn't automatically drop into our account. We have people with a microscope, okay, that goes in for every single order and make sure that order goes to a real person. And then I handwrite a note to that person. It doesn't matter if you ordered 17 times from us. Shout out to the Carries, to the Mayas, to the Lars of the world, all those women who consistently order time and time again. Every single time, I'm so thankful, as if she purchased for the first time, because those women respect the hustle. They respect that we sat down and we made sure this product was readily available to them. Whatever we put on our website, that is exactly what's going to come in the mail. Our SKU number matches. We have everything in order now. So once we go through and check and make sure that the fraud analysis has been done, then we go through to say, okay, we will accept your money for this order. From there, the order is fulfilled on the back end, shipped to our customer, and then separately, we send out a thank you note. I send out a thank you note to our customer just to thank them for their business. Again, that takes a long time, but it's the work that I'm willing to do because I want that connection. I can't say I want a connection with every customer and then not connect with every customer. The team looks at me crazy when I'm like, I will handwrite 2,000 thank you notes from the 2,000 orders that we just got before I allow these women to just purchase and never hear from somebody who put their blood, sweat, and tears into this business. I care about the soul and the connectivity of Studio 92 Hair. I care about the sisterhood. I care about how you feel when you get a package in the mail. I care about the letters that you're going to go to the mailbox and say, wow, my girl Tiffany, she wrote me this letter. She cares that I made a purchase from her. Building a community, doing anything in business, it takes time. And I'm dedicated to making sure that every customer feels seen. When you think about customer service, we have a few people who are on the team who are trying to implement customer service through AI. And they want it to be these mini chat, the auto chat, the auto box. No. The answer is no. I tell my team all the time, we are not automating conversations. I get it. Scaling and just asking, hey, what's my order number? Cool. We can automate that. Hey, how long is shipping? Cool. We can automate that. But a real woman with real emotions who might be going through something, she deserves to be heard, right? And you cannot cheat that with AI because AI don't give a damn. Sorry, can I cuss on here? Blank that out. AI doesn't care that this woman's pageant is coming up. AI doesn't care that this woman's wedding is today. AI doesn't care that the cheerleader deadlines is this weekend. AI don't care, girl. You know who cares is a human being. And we cannot outsource some of those things. So in the future, sure, let's use AI to get to a point where the general questions are being asked. You can go to our website. It's going to automatically pop up. You can DM us. That's going to automatically pop up. But when it comes down to a woman who actually cares about what she's wearing, who spent her hard-earned money on a product that I'm selling, oh, I give a damn. Oh, I care. I want to talk to you directly. It doesn't matter how many orders we get. And the women seeing this, they will attest to this. And they will let you know, as successful as we are as a company and all the amazing people that we work with, I know these women by name. And I know them by heart. I know them by their hard work that they've done to respect what I've put in place to say, hey, I want to purchase this from you. I want to hear the feedback. I want to hear, hey, girl, I got this. One girl told me she got her hair and the box was hard to open. Thank God that's the only complaint that she had. Shout out Allison. Yeah, she let me know. She said, hey, girl, ordered hair from you. I could not get this box open. And I had to use a box cutter and I had to do all these things. I don't want people fighting to get the box open. So immediately I take that information. I get it back to our team. Imagine if I was trying to cheat that aspect. Imagine if I was like, girl, that's just figure it out. Get in the box how you get in there. That's not my business. Okay, you got the hair, go on. Imagine if that was my attitude and I was trying to cut corners with the feedback that we get from the very women who helped us build this empire, right? That would be doing a disservice to all of us in the way that we want to be treated. When I go and shop at a company, I want somebody to treat me well. Can you imagine going on wherever you get your clothes from? Think about it. Imagine going on and ordering your clothes and then being able to message the company on Instagram and say, hey, girl, when am I going to get my order? Trust and believe. We get messages like that all the time. Those are things that I don't mind outsourcing because, number one, you're going to automatically get an email that says, this is your order number. Thank you for placing your order. This is when it'll be here. We can see all that from the back end. You get that information. But now imagine it's getting close to you needing your clothes and the tracking isn't updating. Do you want to speak to an automation or do you want to talk to a person? And the team is going to be really upset at me saying this, that I don't want those automations, because they're like, when it gets too hectic, when we get so many orders, you're not going to be able to do this. Even if we move to the position of using AI, I'm still not cheating my sisterhood. We will have a group chat community. We will have a DM chat. We will have something that people have direct access. If it's not to me, then to my team. Because I understand that I can't cheat it. I understand that if I say I want a personal relationship with these women, if I see you out and your hair looks great, and I say, your hair looks amazing, and a woman says, thank you, it's Studio 92 hair, I want to know that she enjoyed her order, that she had a great experience with our company, that she's going to tell her friends. And that is really what happens behind the business. So all in all, let's remember to respect the hustle. Let's remember our goals and where we're going so that we can put in the amount of time, effort, and building our identity around the actual hustle and what it takes to get there. Thank you all so much for tuning into another episode of Behind the Business. Again, I'm your girl. Yeah, I said it 3 times just for dad, okay? I'm your girl, Tiffany Hope. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Behind the Business.